Yeah. What's up, guys? Today, high gain. I'm using my the Ibanez FRM 100, the Paul Gilbert signature, and I usually don't have this one in the studio, so it's fun to be able to connect it with all the cool stuff. And the sound you're hearing is basically a cranked two screamer into a cranked Friedman BEOD pedal, and then into a clean Fender Blues Junior. It's a lot of fun. As you might know, yesterday it was all about cleans, and today it's all about high gain. That's the way I work. It's not a coincidence that I always go between high gain and low gain like this. It's simply the way I function, to keep myself interested. It's a bit like you have, let's say you have two friends that are completely different, and when you've spent a lot of time with one of them, it's good to spend the next friend session with the other one, because they're so different. So they give you different kind of feedback, and it kind of helps you in your relations, because even though the friends are different, the feedback you get from one kind of gives you a fresh perspective when you're speaking to the next one. It's exactly the same here with high gain and the clean signal. I don't know if you think that comparison holds water, but it was my best attempt. Okay, so let's see. Let's warm up a little bit so we can do anything we want, fancy or heavy, whatever, but we first need to get our chops warmed up. So I'm just in E minor here, riffing away. Paul Tilman, thank you so much for your kind words. My pals ECVCLS and EC29. Your usernames are strikingly similar. So, ECVCLS, have you had the time to check out the membership content? And did I get you right that you don't have a guitar, only a bass? If so, it's going to be a little extra interesting to hear if you could benefit from the content. Early stream, that's right. I'm working on my EC29. What is EC29? Sorry for the ignorance. Westlife song. Oh man, you're in the wrong stream, mate. Yes, this is an Ibanez FRM 100. Let's go. Does Westlife have any high gain metal tunes? I dropped the pick. Don't do that. Oh, Washburn EC10. Oh, cool. That sounds like a really cool. Yeah, I always wanted a Washburn. I don't know. They were so shreddy and metalish. Plus, Nuno had one, so I guess that. practicing my harmonics. It would be cool if I could start throwing these in more often. I switched to D, drop D there, you might have noticed. If you guys want to try these harmonics, all I'm doing is lightly touching above the 7th fret wire B string and 5th fret wire G string, okay? And someone requested corn, so I just thought that's a bit cornish maybe. So now the reason I changed to D, drop D, was because I wanted to be able to throw in a fat power chord without any fingers involved. So I could concentrate on playing those harmonics. Oh, you will stay as a long-term member. Thank you so much, ma'am. So those of you who don't know, we had a very generous user yesterday who handed out memberships in the live stream. And ECBCLS, who's a long-time follower, he got one for free. So that's why I'm checking what he thinks about it. But I'm very happy to hear that, man. Warms my heart. Okay. So I'm pretty new to throwing these harmonics in when riffing, but it's a very fun challenge. So I think I'm going to give myself some relief and just decrease the tempo a little bit. So again, I'm just using those harmonics on the 5th and 7th fret. 7, 5th. You can invert them and get different sounds, right? And that's basically what I'm exploring, which ones I want to be using. hard to play slow as well. Just trying to fit in between the... Let's take something that's a little less lousy for this kind of sound. Cool, we got my man Christian Newman from Ice Cold Berlin. It's ice cold here in Stockholm as well. We woke up with 3 minus. So spring is not here yet. Slayer, don't know any Slayer. Thank you, Latasha. So in case you guys are wondering here, I'm practicing with the high gain sound, and I just realized that I don't do enough harmonics in my riffing. And the best time to fix that is, of course, when practicing, which is exactly what we're doing now. Ricochet. I do interact, man. I can't play and interact all the time. That's hard. Okay, so. Yes, EC29. And I'm actually thinking about making you a moderator because you've been here all the time. And it's getting a little bit annoying when we have these. So if you're interested, just let me know and we can more effectively ban the weird people. Ricochet, no problem, mate. So obviously don't spam, right? That's annoying. Let's see. I'll be jamming a little bit more, and then you could hear the harmonic applications in the stream, or in the riff. double the tempo. Couldn't do that. Okay, just a little second here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Australian 69, what's up? Just by speaking about it, I lost the tempo. Let's see if we can weave in some licks in between. EC29. Can you play sleep? I was trying to do the pickup switch there and I failed. So one more time. bit more. So that's the challenge. I think getting back into lead and rhythm because you. So there, I went back on time, but I was completely focused on not messing up. So after I made it on time, I had no idea what to play. So I just failed. But that's kind of the trick here. You have to. The more you do it, the more you start. At the end of your lead line, you start thinking about what's going to happen when I go back to rhythm, and that's the only way to do it. You have to prepare yourself a little bit in advance. And that's very hard to do if you're struggling, with improvising or technique or anything. So a tip here is definitely to turn the tempo down. It's a little bit fast for me. And also, if you're new to this, you're going to want to play licks and stuff that you're comfortable with. You can't experiment with that and try to get back in time. And, so focus on one thing at a time. So I'll try to practice what I preach. What genre are you least comfortable with on the guitar? Gypsy jazz, bebop jazz. I can grab a little bit of inspiration from that, but I can't play it at all. I'm pretty bad at just standard blues because I think the 12-bar blues is too boring to remember. So I love the blues, but I can't. I hate counting bars and stuff like that. So I think if I were to play with a traditional blues dude, he or she would find me very annoying whenever I go into rhythm. So yeah, I'm crap at that, and it's just so boring. But I guess I'd have to learn it if I were jamming that way. But I just like playing my stuff, right? And sometimes I dial in a high gain sound. Sometimes it's low gain. Sometimes it's overdrive. Sometimes it's acoustic. But it's always, from my perspective. I can tap the foot, but I never follow any structures because I find them boring. I want something new every day. And again, if I were in a different setting where I couldn't choose every aspect of my playing by myself, I would have to learn them. I might have to learn songs. I get a million requests in here and I don't learn any new songs. So it's like, what songs do I know? Well, 20 years ago I used to play that one. So yeah. Oh, seven sharp 9. That's the altered dominant chord, and then 7 suspended fourth. So when you say 7, that implies a dominant chord with a suspended fourth. Is that really a nice thing? I would prefer just a suspended chord. Because if you're going to play dominant chord, you have all these 4 notes and you add stuff on top of that. But the sharp 9 thing is easy. It's just this. It doesn't sound very good with the high gain. But the 7 sus4... yeah, it's just this. We don't want to hear this, or maybe we do. Okay, let's do some more. I totally messed up. One more time. lesser known bands or artists. My all-time, one of my all-time favorite metal bands is not spoken about a lot now, but I think it's Paradise Lost. I love them. And they were big back in the days, especially they had their Icon, they had their Draconian Times, and they had their very first like death metal hit, which was As I Die. But I don't like the death metal stuff. I like their growly, or rather barky, like James Hetfield stuff. And they went Depeche Mode, so popish for a few years. People hated that, but I like lots of their material. Unfortunately, they've started removing some of their better and newer kind of metalish albums, recent albums from Spotify, which is a shame. But check out, if you haven't, Paradise Lost and their Draconian Times album. Love that stuff. I think a lot of the older people in here are going to know them, but I think they released a lot of good stuff even after that. And it doesn't get a lot of mention. I don't think they got a lot of airtime or anything like that now. So they need your support. But other smaller, yeah, no, I'm bad at that stuff. The new music I get these days is usually from my kids. And we listen to a lot of their playlists in the car, and they're really good. But it's not anything guitar based. This is Ear Pleasure. Glad you like it. Yeah, Randy Rhoads. This is the riff everybody knows. I know it. No, I don't, because I'm... Kirk Hammett, I guess he wrote the... Otherwise, when you think about Kirk Hammett, it's all... Or maybe the... I can't even do that stuff anymore. Van Halen, don't know any Van Halen. Well, that was Van Halen, right? That's his Kirk Hammett's rip-off. But we have the... something like that. But again, that's not my cup of tea. I'm really crappy at that stuff. Sorry, man. I wish I could play cover songs all day. I think people would love that, but I would hate it. So I don't do it. Whoa, this is groovy metal. This is a different story. Thunderback. What's Thunderback? Suicidal Tendencies. Never really listened to them. But this is fun. I love this kind of groove metal. See if we can get some groove going. Over. Yeah, there you have it. Now, Dave Mustaine. Are you Dave Mustaine from back in the days? We used to have a very frequent user. with the name Dave Mustaine. Of course, not the real one, but a lot of people thought. Peter. So this is all me just jamming around with like improvised riffs, and this is what I like doing. And this is why I don't learn any new songs, because this is the only thing that interests me these days. If I didn't do this, I'd just put the instrument down. That's kind of what intrigues me, sitting down with a new sound and seeing what comes out. Maximum Security is one of the best shred albums ever. Instrumentals, definitely a masterpiece. I think it's the one for me, probably. You know, there's some great Yngwie stuff, like his best stuff, and I like Greg Howe, but you know, that neoclassical thing he did, that was his absolute peak. Very good songs on that album. Sorry, man. Lovely game, though. But I don't know. So sorry. I wish I could play Teacher's Theme. I can't. Do I prefer single coils or double coils, or what's it called, humbuckers? Generally single coils. Right now I'm playing two fake single coils and a real single coil. So most of the riffing you hear is done here on the fake single coil. So it's a stacked single coil. It's actually double, but it has the size of a single coil. And those are pretty cool. They handle high gain, but they usually have a little bit brighter, just cuts, has this very sharp thing. Of course, you can get a similar thing with humbuckers. So for recording, I'd say it's like 50-50. I use humbucker a lot because, it sounds really good with high gain and just some tones. But for playing, I find a lot of times when I'm not doing like high gain stuff, single coil is much more interesting because the way they respond, and it's just more fun whenever you don't have a super high gain sound. So I would say for playing, I usually play like 80% single coils. But still, I would say half of my guitar collection has humbuckers. And that's, as I was saying, for recording, it's the easy 50-50. Yeah. Nice guitar. Thank you. Guitar, 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 guitar. Jump to my Jaguar. Heard that song? It's fun. Ever play 7 strings? No. Well, I've tried them, but no. I would like an extended range guitar, but I think I'd be interested in one of those, like, I've seen, I don't know what they're called, but they're like a crossover between bass and guitar. I wouldn't want more strings, just maybe extended range and just, yeah, that would be fun. But never felt the need for another string, simply because I prefer really narrow necks. This is really borderline for me. Another string would be horrible. My favorite neck is probably on my Wolfgang guitar, which is like a narrower version of Strat. I think a Strat is like 4.2 centimeters, whereas that one is like 4, I think, and just that little difference feels huge. So another string, no thanks. You would have to have this posture all the time. I hate that posture. I'd much rather have this posture. So my dream guitar probably has like 5 strings, but I'm not to the point where I can order a custom-made 5-string guitar yet. But that's probably what I'd get, I think. You mean this one? Yeah, it's Ibanez Iceman, you know, the Kiss guitar. It's a famous one. So what Paul Gilbert did is turned it upside down and called it Fireman. I like it a lot. I think it's cool. I think he did a good job being creative there. Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. I wouldn't mind having a 7-string or even 8-string, 9-string. Why not? But it's not a priority right now. I could easily double my collection of guitars. I think I have around 15, and probably wouldn't get a 7-string. But maybe an extended range, yes, but not a 7-string. Of course, that would be a nightmare in terms of maintenance. I'm already way behind. I have so much maintenance work to do. It's probably what I should do today, thinking of it. Okay, but a bit more jamming. Actually, to be honest with you, my ears are exhausted by this high gain stuff. And it's really sharp. I think it sounds pretty good, but it's just too much. So wonder if I could find some way to just try turning down the gain and see what we get. Sorry, mate, I don't have a, a BPM way to measure BPM. I use this, which doesn't have the BPM. Oh, I noticed light is freaking off. Maybe this is better. So this is what I have. I use this for practicing. It's a nice alternative to a metronome. It has a built-in, pretty crappy, but still okay for practicing speaker. And that's what I use. So that's what you're hearing. It doesn't say the BPM, it just says tempo. I don't know, maybe 70 or something. Just a wild guess. Hybrid picking shirt stuff, pretty cool. How can I start playing guitar? That's a good question. The easiest and best way is you get a hold of like a cheap classical guitar. Those are usually the cheapest ones. And learn a few chords from your favorite songs. That's going to be the best thing you can do. And from there, you can easily start learning some riffs and some licks, like some scale passages. And does it have output to mix in the amp? Well, it has a headphone output, so you could probably use that, yeah. Usually that stuff sounds like crap, because a guitar speaker is not really made for making like a kick drum or a snare or something like that sound good. So it usually doesn't sound very good in a guitar amp, unless you have like a modern day like practice amp, like a Yamaha THR or something, where you have a line in, and the speakers in such an amp are like full range frequency response, which means they're like hi-fi speakers, the same thing you would listen to music to. A guitar amp is not. A guitar amp is really just focused on the mid-range. So that's why the fact that this has this built-in speaker, I think works okay, because it wouldn't sound so much better if I had it through a guitar amp speaker. What does sound better, of course, is if you plug the headphone jack into a mixer with where you have like monitors, or just to your, whatever you use for listening to music, like maybe computer speakers, like gaming speakers, or just if you have like a old school, like CD player and stuff like that, or like a Bluetooth speaker, but that's usually hard to. They don't usually have line in these days. So I'm sure you can figure out the way to do it. Yeah, exactly. You can buy a starter pack for electric guitar, $200. But again, I think the easiest option is just to get a hold for like a $30 used classical guitar. They sound pretty good usually. I like nylon strings. But of course, since you're here and since I'm shredding, maybe you're more into electric, and then I think Casey Jones' tip is probably a better one. So let's do a little bit of hybrid picking. I use that all the time. So if you look at my right hand, you're going to see that I'm using my pick and fingers together. So pick, finger, pick, finger. it true you can't find classical guitars in the United States? Yeah, maybe you're into steel string there. Here in Stockholm or in Sweden, that's what even the schools, buy like they have like 30 such guitars because it's so cheap. And that's usually, what you're going to find hanging first in the guitar stores. That's what people buy. Really like simple classical guitars, nylon string guitars, basically. And I think in many parts of the world, those are like your starter guitars if you're fortunate enough to have like a school where guitar is being taught, like entry-level guitar. Mind World, what's up? One-man band. Good morning. I don't know the Chinese Eastman guitars. Sound like fun though. Cool, guys. So thanks so much for tuning in. I have a lot of work to do to fix my guitars actually for next week, because this guitar doesn't have a working tone knob, which is really annoying when I'm trying to dial in sounds. And I have at least 2 other guitars that are not quite playable, and I'd love to fix them so I can get recording for you guys. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do, I think, the coming hour. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in. As usual, it's been fun. I hope you enjoyed this little different session where I really cranked up the gain. I usually don't do that, but it's a lot of fun, and I get to revisit some of my old shredding and metal shows. The best guitar player on YouTube. You're too kind, man. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope to see you very soon again. You've been the best, and I've been Christopher Dahl.